purpose of the pilot is to introduce rural kids to reading and getting them to experience a number of our country's best writers. And it's all about giving kids a lifetime love of reading.
Good heavens, look at all these big kids.
So it's a pretty big deal to have the authors themselves come in and work with our children. We also value the idea of children meeting up with people who have genuine jobs in the world and being able to describe that.
I'll tell you how come I knew I wanted to be a writer. One day, my dad was sitting by the fire and he put his slippers up to warm them by the hearth. And my mum said, "Oh, Kevin, you need new slippers. There's holes in the soles. The stitching has come undone. I can see your toes." Well, my mum thought, gosh, there must be a book in that. And she tried to write the story, and she wrote Grandpa's Slippers, and then she wrote Grandpa's Cardigan. So she wrote these books only because she saw my dad's scruffy slippers. So if my mum could write a book like this, it made me think anyone can write books. You've just got to find good ideas.
We were absolutely blown away when Booktown reached out to us and said, "Hey, do you want to be part of this amazing opportunity where we can get all these we can look at writers to get into our schools?" And we were so keen to get that going.
I'm going to tell you about how I started to be a writer, because really it was pretty much when I was about your age. There was an evening newspaper, and on Saturday nights they would have a whole page that was just for the children. It was called the children's page, and you could send in stories, and if they liked it they would publish it. So this is the very first story that I had in the paper. It's called The Dachshund Who Ran Away. What I was doing is what you do when you write a story. You take something that you know and you use two magic words, which are what if, and you think what if something happened, and that's how you can make a story. So if you're ever stuck on writing a story and you don't know where your story is going, ask yourself, what if?
In the middle of the night, there was this big loud noise. It was a phone ringing, saying a ram was out.
Whoa, that's a really good start, the phone ringing in the middle of the night. That's really exciting.
What we want to do by emphasising this program on rural readers is give them the same opportunities that kids who live in the towns and cities get.
Isn't it? You write, that's fabulous. Because you're the writer, you can tell your story. Okay?
Hopefully, that through that engagement, these kids will have a love of reading all their lives.
Wait, did you do that? Did you do it?
I drew it, then I photocopied it so I could cut the photocopy out and put it into my book. So here's George Gray.
He's smoking.
And then this one here is this is my favourite. This is the face of Te Tōku Waru. Here, he only had one eye. And people said he was pretty ugly. But he had a really strong personality. And he was a great leader. He designed pā that were built all over Taranaki, and they were amazing. And when the British soldiers saw them, they couldn't believe how incredible they were. And they did drawings of them. And I believe that when the First World War happened, some of those drawings were used to help people design buildings for trench warfare. Isn't that amazing?
And some of you might be thinking, oh, writers, books, this is going to be boring. It's not going to be boring, because I'm just going to fire questions at these wonderful people. What advice would you give to parents to encourage or get their kids reading more?
You know, often it's a matter of finding the right book for the right kid, and sometimes that's easy and sometimes it's not. And it can take time, so if you can make it part of your life.
I would say don't give up. So you haven't given up, most likely, on saying clean your teeth every day. So I don't think reading should be negotiable. I think reading should be important. They have proven that kids who read have got better job prospects. They're more empathetic.
I'm a great believer in routine and doing the same thing every day at the same time. And I think that's one of the ways to get kids to read, is if you've got a reading time. And that just happens every day. I also think that reading words, without pictures, might I say, that it's really good for your mind and your brain, because you have to come up with the imagery in your head. All of those things are underestimated and undervalued, I reckon, in reading.
His foot slipped. Not much, but enough to make him overcorrect and overreact. He scrambled against the slippery wall, his skidding foot sending his heart into a frantic thump.
We think it's important that rural schools thrive and prosper. It is becoming more difficult for rural communities because the libraries aren't funded as strongly as they are in the towns and cities. Transport is expensive, and bus services and public transport either doesn't exist or only exists intermittently. That's why we thought we would go to our rural communities and our schools, bring the writers to them so that they can have the same opportunities as other kids throughout Aotearoa, New Zealand.
So she gave it a drink, went inside and closed the door. People from all over town came to look and to stare at Mrs. McGinty's plant. Look how big it's become now. Look at it behind her house. Do you think your cucumber seedling might do that?
Bringing in writers to work directly with the children presents us with a huge opportunity that, who knows, may be life-changing, but certainly presents a positive day for all of our kids.
It's been really special. We've been treated as authors and illustrators on a sort of another level. I felt really, really grateful for the way we've been welcomed and the interest the children have shown.
The day that the kids have had has been fantastic. All of our students, right down from our little 5-year-olds right up to our intermediate age group, have been hooked all day on what the writers have had to say. And while I've been looking and going around, I've noticed children who struggle a bit with writing were so engaged and wanting to give it a go. And you know, I've heard children talk about, oh, when I get home, I'm going to get mum to get me a new chapter book, and oh, when I get home, I'm going to look up this book. So it's been quite an amazing experience for us as a school to see our children so passionate.
One last round of applause for our writers and our organisers and our camera person.
I'm hoping that the Ministry will see how successful this has been and how meaningful it's been to our students, but also to our community, and bringing our community and Pirinoa's community closer together.